Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Jacob Giorgi. You are tuned into Working Class Heroes, and this is a channel about, it's an educational channel for business owners and sales, trying to show people that you don't have to be real special, born with any amazing gifts to be a business owner or to get into sales. This is something that everybody can do, and hence the Working Class Heroes. Today we have Michael VanCamp joining us from Pulse Tech, and please tell us a little bit about your business.
Michael VanCamp, I've personally been in the business for a long time, probably about 25, 27 years in the IT business. Worked for other companies, then about 16 years ago I started my own business, and it's finally evolved to Pulse Technology. The other owner is Chris Thomas. He's also been in the business in the IT world for about 15, 16 years as well. Started in the military, communications, and so forth, and now we're having an amazing business together.
That's great. When was the point when you were doing IT work that you actually decided to go out and get a business license and become a business owner?
It's a good question, because it was kind of a leap of faith, but I had to have faith in myself and my surrounding friends and family that were supporting me and encouraging me. But the final thing was when I was working for somebody else and a couple payroll checks bounced, and I said, I think I can do this on my own. So with that, a lot of encouragement and some really valued network, strong friends, I went for it. And it was a long road to hoe. And I think after about 15 years, I'm starting to see the goal.
So it takes a little bit of time.
It does. I've had some successes and some challenges, but from those challenges I've definitely learned, and it's a very solid, strong company at this point.
Nice. Now you said you started with a company, an IT company. Did you learn most of what you knew before you started your company from being a employee at that IT company?
I did. I learned. So in my life, every aspect I try and learn when I'm in that situation. So the company that I left and finally started my own IT company, I learned a lot, and it was a very valuable experience. Made a lot of contacts, and great experience. And even the bad parts, which pushed me to start my own business, was, hindsight, a great experience too.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. I think a lot of people in business, they get that. They get through hardship and they go, why am I doing this? I see other people ahead. Why are they ahead? And then they try to make the appropriate steps. The problem is that it seems like there's no entity out there that's there to tell you what to do. And it makes it difficult out there for sure. Do you consider yourself a salesperson?
I don't.
I know from being a business owner that you whether you're a salesperson or not, you have to at some point step out of that comfort zone and go out there and talk to people and interact and go to mixers and networking events and try to get business. Was that a difficult transition for you?
A little bit. So I'm a very open, and unfortunately I think most people kind of like me, or they put on a good show. Anyway, that makes it easy to go up and talk to people, and as business owners, we're all there to make money. Everyone owns their own business to make money. However, I balance that with what's best for the customer. So knowing the challenges that I've had growing my business, I want to be able to help business owners not have to worry about their IT. And so that allows me to be able to talk to anybody, because what I'm doing is I'm helping them. And that's really a driving force just within my being, is to help them. So then, I've turned into sales, and that's a lot of what I do for the company now, is go out and, I don't call it sales, but I go out and say, what do you need? Where are you at? Where are you going in the next 5 years? So it was a transition. It was a little bit challenging at first, but hey man, I need to do that for my company as well as all the companies that I'm helping. So it was definitely a good transition for me.
That's awesome. I always say a closed mouth doesn't get fed. You know, if they don't know who you are, they're not going to use you. So you have to get out there. You have to be known, so that they at least have the opportunity to use you, and you have the opportunity to try to gain their trust.
Sure.
And build a relationship rather than sales. To go out there and build a relationship so that they have trust in you to use you.
So that's a really good point. Is that Pulse Technology doesn't really have customers. We have relationships. And the first time I meet with a customer, a potential relationship, that's what I tell them. I said, hey, you know what? I don't want to be you spend $2,000 with us and then boom, we're gone. I want to be in your company's growth. I want you to call our company 10 years from now when you're retired and your son or your daughter or your brother takes over. Because relationship is very important to me, because you start to know the people, you trust them, you trust in us. I have customers, probably the majority of customers now just say, hey, I need 2 PCs, you know my network, get it. Not, could you get me a quote, I'm shopping. So relationship is one of the key foundations in Pulse Technologies business.
I love that. I think that's that's the key factor in any good business, is building the right relationships. Do you ever try to be more than a professional at IT when you go out and you build relationships with customers? Do you ever try to sell anything else other than IT? Do you find yourself diluting it at all? Or do you stick with IT even though you have other things to offer? Do you stick with one thing to sell, to upsell later? Or do you try to sell everything first appointment?
Well, first appointment, I'm going to provide what you, the business, needs. So there's short-term and long-term. And I share this with all of our clients when I'm talking to. I said, look, your place is a mess, okay? Or just from the standpoint of, you really need to replace X. So let's focus on that. And I've noticed other things.
But you're giving them at the first appointment, you're telling them, hey, you need exactly this to get up in the green.
Right. At the first appointment, when they call and come in and say, hey, my computer's running slow, I don't go, oh, well, you know what, we can replace your phone system and your server and then that fax machine and the copier. That's not what they called for. And this is not how we roll.
That's bad business.
Yeah.
That's bad business. A big fear. Most business owners in the United States don't have any employees. Mm-hmm. They have 1 employee. They definitely have less than 5. How many employees do you have right now?
So right now we have 6 employees.
Are they all on payroll and everything like that?
They are. Yeah.
Now, do you outsource? How do you outsource? Do you outsource as much as you can? Do you try to do all the jobs yourself? Kind of delegate them with what you have. How does that work?
In regards to like HR and
yeah,
payroll and things like that.
Exactly, workers' comp,
Yeah.
payroll, HR.
Since we're experts at computers and networks, we find it's better to pay somebody that is an expert. For example, bookkeeping. We pay somebody to do our bookkeeping because we're IT guys. We
Absolutely
can, and we pay an accountant. We pay someone to do our payroll. So we feel it's better money spent to pay someone to do what they're an expert in. So that'll let us focus on what we need to focus on.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I totally agree. And once you crossed that barrier and you got the employees, was it easier than you thought it would be, or was it just as difficult as you thought, and you hate having employees?
Yes. So it's a good and challenging thing. It's challenging from the standpoint of when you're on your own, you have 100% of the information and the 100% of the responsibility. Whereas sort of then if you start delegating, okay, Phil, you're going to take tier 1, tier 1.5 calls. Javier, you're going to take tier 2 calls, and backing off and letting them do their job and work on the follow-up. Another thing with employees is you need to communicate the company's vision, like I was saying earlier about relationship management. You need to communicate that to the employees That do, and so clear communication, processes, procedures, and talking to them. That's super important.
And remembering that at one point in your life, like we talked about earlier, is that you were there.
Oh, yeah.
You were an employee, and so you transition to a business owner, and a lot of people build this wall. There's business owners, they're employees. They forget that they weren't always business owners; they were employees. And a good boss, I think, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but a good boss knows his job, and when he hires employees, he's able to say, "This is how we do it," and train them to be what they know and all that experience that they've had through all these years, and then take that employee, and then hopefully that person is good enough to listen, learn, and take on the task that you want them to. Now, the positions in your company, I know you have a handful of employees, and you have Chris with you, who's like a co-owner. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, do they have a manual or a written out job detail or job duties that they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing every day?
Yeah, absolutely. They have, and this is something that we recently instituted because we verbally share. You need to do A, B, C, D through Z, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. If you get time. But when you verbalize it, then things happen. There's a shiny object over there, and things get missed. However, someone that's got a little more experience than me, again, networking, shared with, hey, why don't you just write down, and it's a checklist. And that's great, as well as job description, to go a little bit deeper into that. Hey, you should be responsible for this as well as any other duties as assigned.
And when you say that cuts costs down, no one's walking back and forth going, oh God, what do I do? Did I do everything? They do A, B, and C. D has to get done, but they forget about it because it's not written down, it's not on their schedule, and it saves you money in the long run, it saves you time. Do you guys have uniforms and everything? If they go out on the field?
These amazing shirts, right?
Those are nice.
They are very
nice. Those are nice. I have a question for you. Have you taken any loans to start your company or to help with your company that you have to pay back or anything like that?
No way.
Perfect.
You don't need to, because it's budgeting. You make sure you see what's coming in. Because I started from my house, and I had a house. I had a spare bedroom, so that would be my office.
Yeah, and why would you take debt when you don't even have?
Exactly.
If you have to take on a loan for your business, then you're not doing your business right anyway. You shouldn't be spending a bunch of money before you get it. That's how I live and how I treat business. This might be a personal question. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. But in your business right now, are you guys doing paycheck to paycheck? Are you guys living paycheck to paycheck, or you have a little buffer there that helps you in case something goes wrong?
We do have a buffer, and with our business, is we typically buy our hardware for our clients and then invoice them straight away. So there's going to be that 15-day up and down of the income. So absolutely, we have a little bit of a buffer.
Okay. Always pay your bills right when you get them.
No.
Is there a reason for that?
So the reason is because of cash flow, as well as if you are, it's scheduled. So it is on a schedule because we know when invoices are going out, when invoices are coming in. But since I've heard you talk about paying them straight away, so then boom, they're out of hat. So we're gonna think about that and discuss that. So it's an interesting idea.
Well, with me, it's just I want to go home from work, and when I'm at home, I don't want to think of the bills and everything. So if I pay them now, if the cash flow's there,
sure.
I pay them now, and I don't have to worry about it, and that's covered. Do you use the HR company right now? Human resources company is an HR company, helps you with, but for everybody else, HR company helps you with all your employee needs and laws and regulations and all of that. Do you use any HR services, or are you just right now kind of in the?
No. So you don't wing HR. Okay, so because it's just important because your employees have rights, and your business has rights. So it's important to get with an HR company that you trust. And so our payroll company is our HR company as well.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. It's
That's
all
perfect.
wrapped up into the cost.
And a lot of payroll companies will do that. They have that HR option. That's a good thing to have. Do you ever mix any religious or political views with your clients or customers or anything like that?
So,
Or I guess a better
So-
question would be, do you try not to?
so from the onset, the answer is no. However, if someone's having a discussion, and again, typically everyone that's a Pulse customer that we're in relationships with, we've known them. So then, you know, Mike, or heaven forbid you ask Philip what he thinks, because he'll tell you. God bless him. So, you know, yeah, we'll get into the conversation, but from a general company point of view, we don't care. We're here to fix your stuff, get you back up and running.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a big fan of always not making excuses, you know. And I think one of the things in today's society is when you say don't make excuses. I think the problem is a lot of people don't recognize the excuses that they're making. You know, they're so used to making them, they don't even recognize that what they're saying is an excuse. Obviously, you're a business owner, you do IT. You're not making excuses not to, but have you seen that come into play in your business, either yourself making excuses not to do something, or do you find yourself making excuses to do something?
You do it or you don't do it. Because why you don't, the excuse, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what, you know, I gotta do this or that or this. Either you're going to or you're not going to. So it's really important that you just choose and decide what you're gonna do and just stand behind it. Excuses, because those are just words, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say, in my opinion, I never use the word problem. I'm a guy that says, you know, there's never a problem, because the day's going to end, tomorrow's going to start, and you know what I mean, you're gonna deal with the new ones then, so there's never a problem. In your business, would you say that, do you ever tell your employees or anything, oh, we have a problem? Or, oh, your employees come to you, they're, oh, we have a huge problem. You know, how are we gonna fix this? Or is it more of a, hey, this is what I came across?
So yes, is the answer. So it could be conveyed to us that, oh man, I got this huge problem. And it's like, no. Our job, the reason we're in existence is because there's problems. Customers have problems and we're here to solve them. We're problem solvers. So yeah, absolutely. Everyone's got a problem.
Perfect. I love that. I love that. Do you ever lower your price?
That's ever, yes. But let me explain some of the circumstances. You know, typically we do the best we can to get the best price for our customer. Now, the best price doesn't necessarily mean the lowest. And I go through and I educate our customers, look, you need this kind of PC. You said, get me a PC for $500. And I said, all right, let me see what I can do. But I got you a PC for $700, and then I educate them to say why. You're using X, Y, Z, and AB Blue. And then with that explanation, they're like, oh, I understand why I can't have, or why you wouldn't
Lower your price.
lower my price or try and get me what I asked for, because frankly, not to be curt, but you don't know what you need. And it's our responsibility to educate them.
Well, that's why you're the professional. Absolutely. All right. Do you use your cell phone as your business phone, or do you have a business phone?
We have a business phone. We have used voice over IP. We use the phone system that we sell.
But would you say using your cell phone as a business owner for taking calls, would you say that that's unprofessional? Or
Here's the challenge. So when I first was just by myself, it was my cell phone. And that extends the customer service aspect. Call me. Call me directly if this happens again, because it shouldn't. So there are times that I give my cell phone out or tell people to call me directly. So in the overall aspect of it, I think it's most professional if they call a company number And then if it routes to your cell phone, that's okay.
And why is that?
That's because business is important.
Because business is business,
Right.
and it's money, and you have to
Exactly.
work. Which is, by the way, something that is coming up right now, is that a lot of people don't realize the time you put into it is what you're getting out of it. If you're like, I'm not answering phones, I'm not doing, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do it my way and this and that, and you put your customers on the back burner, it's bad business, and you know, lose it.
There's
You
two
gotta
things.
be there when the phone rings.
There's two things. One, if I don't answer the phone, some other company will, right?
Right.
Right. And then the second thing, and going back to why I don't get there so early in the morning, is because I work from. I've been in Belgium, Germany, and Mexico
You don't have to
at different times, and I've answered customers' phone calls, and they're like, "Hey, I thought you were out of town." I said, "Yeah, I'm. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here in Germany. What do you need?"
I
Not
think
like
I was
that.
that.
What
I
do
think
you
I
need?
was that customer.
You know?
Actually, I think I did.
So
that.
it just goes to the relationship. Hey, if a customer's calling me, there's something that I need to handle.
Wow, that's perfect, man. You know, before we go, I want to ask just two final questions. One of them is, what is the most difficult thing in your business right now? What is the most frustrating part of your business? The most difficult thing about your business right now, what would you say it was?
I think it's. I don't think it's customers. I don't think it's that. It's training, and one of the things that we've finally instituted is a training every Thursday, 9 o'clock. Hey, you know, what did you run across this week or last week that you can share with the class, for example? So training, and we're really hitting that full force and trying to help educate our employees as well as the owners to understand, well, what roadblocks are you having during the week? You know, oh man, you know, I just have this problem with whatever, it's configuring Office 365 on the server level. Well, cool, then let me either give you a couple articles, or let me just sit next to you and let's do one together. So it's educating us and our employees to see, you know, where are our challenges. So weekly meetings as well as owner meetings to make sure we're both on the same side, because I'm in charge of sales and marketing and Chris is in charge of operations. So I guess really just to boil it down is to say communication amongst our business.
Okay. What is the best part about being a business owner? What is the most positive part about your business? And would you say that transitioning to a business owner was a positive thing to do?
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I mean, who doesn't like being in charge, right? Along with the challenges and responsibilities and stresses, it is our business, and we see the fruits of our labor, and we understand, you know, the more you put into this business, the more you're going to get out of it. You know, a lot of people work the business for their family. They work the business so they can retire. I work the business as one, to alleviate stress from our customers, two, to help gain, you know, to pay our employees so they can have a quality of life. And then third is so I can travel.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, I really appreciate you having you on today. It means a lot to me. I know we're trying to educate people on business and everything like that. You do great work. I know for a fact because I use you for my company, which is one of the reasons why I am having you on, is because I know what an amazing company you are and what a great guy you are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hats off to you. Your accomplishments are amazing.
Thanks.
Clearly worked really hard for it. Can you give about 30 seconds and tell everybody exactly who you are again and what your company does and how it can help this greater Sacramento area?
So I'm Michael VanCamp. I represent Pulse Technology Consulting Group. We are a computer support company, anything from one PC to, I think our largest client has about 120 PCs, and networks and everything that makes that work. Anything from phones to, if you have an old phone system, thank goodness we have Chris. He has a ton of experience on the old phones, as well as if you want a new phone system. Typically we can cut your, anyway, give us a call about phones as well. but PCs, servers, networks, we can help you out with all of that information, and as well, we can just educate you. If you don't know what you need, we can tell you what's best practice that you need.
And what's your website?
It's pulsetcg.com.
And do you have a phone number that goes to your office?
It's 877-797-8573.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate
You
it.
bet, man. It's my pleasure.
All right.
Is this still rolling?
Yeah.
You sure? Everybody, hey man, how you
Everyone's
doing? You can sit down right here, Indian style.
Just don't step on me. There we go. I'm gonna go through a couple things like I said.